Welcome to JAR Region Session 3. For today's lesson, you're going to need your volunteer guidebook, the table tents that you should have handed out and collected back in earlier sessions, the hot dog stand game money tracker with the vocab words on the back, and then your hot dog stand game tasks worksheet. JA has provided dice this year for the hot dog stand game, and then you'll need the digital presentation. Again, you should work with your teacher to figure out if they're pulling it up before you get to class, or if you're coming to class just a few minutes early to pull up the presentation. The first thing we are going to do in this lesson is go over some vocab words. These will be important later on in the lesson. For this, again, I would call up 3 students to be vocab experts and help me learn what these words mean. So I would have a student come to the board and tell me what they think advertising means. Once they give their definition, they can simply click on the word advertising to reveal the definition. I would do the same thing with a different student with expense and revenue. Then we have more vocab words: customer, profit, and loss. The first thing students are going to do in this lesson is they are going to take the knowledge they have just learned with their vocab words and fill out a word bank. All the vocab words that they just went over are here on the word bank. I would give students 3-ish minutes to fill this worksheet out. So you're going to pass it out and have them fill it out on their own. If they do have some questions or want to talk to their neighbor, that's fine as well. Then, using the next 2 slides, we're going to go over the answers. Once students are all the way done, you're just going to go down the whole list answering the question. So we're going to start with task 1 and say, okay, paying for the resources you need for your business. These are your expenses. So the bolded word on the on-screen presentation is the word that they should have put on their word bank. Then you'll go through the same thing for task 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now, these words will be important for the activity that they are going to do next. We have the beloved hot dog stand game. There are many different ways to play this game, and it is totally up to you how you want to facilitate it in the classroom. You can do it as a full group all together using the on-screen presentation. You can get the students into small groups and still use the on-screen presentation. Or if you don't want to use the on-screen presentation, you'll have to get the students into 6 groups and then have each group have one of these tasks worksheets, and that will basically, it's the on-screen presentation information. So let's just pretend you are using the on-screen presentation for your lesson. The first thing you're going to do is hit the play button, and then you are going to ignore the first slide. This talks about the old version game board that we don't have, so you're just going to skip this right away. The most important part about this game, if you are using the on-screen presentation, is you have to use this black button at the bottom that says continue. If you click on the purple arrows on the side, it will kick you out of the game, and you have to click the purple back arrow to get back and start over. So you click the play button, and then you're always going to want to stay within the game by clicking the continue button. If you do use the instructions button, please note that it is wrong. So you're going to want to use the instructions from your guidebook. Once we hit the black continue button, students should each already have their hot dog stand money tracker ready to go. And what we're going to do is we are just going to go task by task. So the first thing we're going to do is start with task 1. And again, you're just going to keep hitting that continue button. So task 1 pulls up, and we talk about how we have to buy our supplies. I would take this opportunity to talk to students a little bit about how we have to buy supplies in order to get our business running, because we can't sell hot dogs if we don't have any hot dogs. So now what you're going to need to do is you're going to have students roll a die to figure out what number they're going to put on their worksheet. So let's say you have students roll a number and they're in groups, and I roll a 2. In my money tracker, I'm going to find task 1, which is green, just like on the on-screen presentation. And then I would write down $5 under my expense, because I know that I'm spending $5 on my hot dogs because I rolled a 2. So you're going to have them fill it out, and then next you're just going to move on to task 2. Task 2, again, we have to buy our advertisement. So take time to talk to students about how if we never advertise our business, we probably won't get many customers and we won't have a very successful hot dog stand. So again, once we have this up, students are going to roll a dice. Let's say I roll a 4. Then under my next task 2 button, I would do $2. So right under it, I would do $2. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause right here, and we're going to total up our expenses. So I had $5 for my hot dogs. I had $2 for my advertisement. So my total expense is $7. So once you're done with task 2, this whole part should be filled out. Then we get to go on to the fun part, and we get to make some money. So task 3 is our revenue. So we get to sell our hot dogs. So if I roll a dice, let's say I roll a 2 and I am selling my hot dogs for $30. What I would do then is I would come again to the blue part, which is task 3, and I would put in $30. Then on to task 4. I get to have tips from my customers, right? Because I have good service. So let's say I roll a 3 and I have $5 in revenue. I'm going to find my red task 4 and put down $5. Then I'm going to pause again and add up my revenue. So if I had $30 for hot dogs and $5 for good tips, I now have $35 in revenue. So once you're done with task 4, the whole top part should be done. Again, if you're using the on-screen presentation, that's fine. If not, you will need this task worksheet because all the numbers and stuff are on there. Then we're on to task 5, which is super fun. I call it kind of the game of life, right? Because we know when you start a business, it's risky and good things happen, but sometimes bad things can happen. So this is really fun when students get to roll the dice and say, okay, if it says expense, something bad happened and you are spending money. If it says revenue, something good happened and you are earning money. So let's say I roll and I get a 1, you will hear lots of, oh no, and yay. It's very fun to see what students get. They would then write down, let's say I rolled a 1, I would write down a 1 under my task 5, where we are talking about what happened. Did we add money or lose money? Then we're really just going to stop and have students do math for number 6. So we're going to do a profit and loss. So we're going to take all our revenue, all our expenses, take that game of life, that task 5, what happened, and we're going to figure out if our hot dog stand made money or lost money. Now, if you're having students work individually and roll their own dice and numbers, that's fine, but just know the math might take a little longer and they might have to ask friends for help, or you might have to be walking around the room assisting as well. The point of the game is not the math, that's just part of it. So we really want to make sure we're helping the students with their math if they are really struggling. Then I just love to take time to go around to every group or to every student and ask, did you make money or did you lose money? Did you make good decisions or bad decisions? And then talk a little bit about it. It's fun to see who made the most and who made the least. So feel free to leave time for that as well. Then once you're done, you're just going to use that purple arrow to move on. And you're really just going to wrap up the lesson. If you have time, again, you can always do these extended learning opportunities that are within the digital on-screen presentation. I hope you enjoy session 3 of JAR Region.